Hello. There's been a lot of news recently about the problem of waste food, waste plastic. Have you ever wondered what happens to all of the used coffee beans that are used to make your double espresso, your Americano or latte? That's what I'll explain in this talk, and in particular some of the ingenious ways that old coffee is being used for new things. Firstly, a little bit of background. Researchers in Brno, in the Czech Republic, claim that 3.244 million tons of coffee is imported into Western Europe each year, and that consumption of coffee in Europe is on average 4.8 kilograms per person. Luxembourg is the top consumer, in Europe at least, and Hungary is the lowest. In London, 20 million cups of coffee are drunk each day, and that produces about 200,000 tons of waste coffee each year. Now that's a lot of waste, and this used coffee is known as spent coffee grounds. Now coffee is obviously a natural product, it comes from coffee beans, hence there's no need just to throw it into a landfill rubbish site with all the other rubbish that's not recyclable. In fact, when spent coffee grounds are thrown into landfill, it releases the harmful gas methane as it breaks down. Landfill, if you didn't know, is the term given to these huge sites where the general rubbish that people throw away is sent. See the pictures on the screen. Now, depending on where you live, these places may remain fairly awful for many, many years, or they may eventually become green open spaces. So these spent coffee grounds then, what can happen to them? Well, basically, it can be turned into other products, and there are now companies that specialise in taking spent coffee grounds and using it in different ways. I'll describe some of those uses. Firstly, it can be made into material for furniture and water purifying and carbon capturing materials. Then there are companies that turn the grounds into logs to burn in fires at home. An open fire in homes usually burns wood, which is not great for the environment. Logs made from spent coffee grounds are an environmentally friendly way to enjoy the comforts of a real fire at home. In fact, they apparently burn hotter and for longer than wood. A more exciting use of these spent coffee grounds is as a fuel for transport. One of the companies that recycles this coffee is called BioBean, and this company has partnered with the Shell Oil Company and another company called Argent Energy to start producing a biodiesel. Now, let me explain how they do this. You see, about 20% of the spent coffee grounds is oil, and that oil can be extracted from the coffee and mixed with other fats and oils to produce a biodiesel. This is a diesel which can be used in, for example, buses. Now, buses traditionally create a lot of harmful pollution in the form of exhaust emissions, particularly CO2 and nitrous oxide, the latter of which is particularly harmful and comes more from vehicles that run on diesel, less so from vehicles that are powered by petrol. So this biodiesel offers a 15 to 20% reduction in CO2 emissions compared with the usual diesel. Obviously, it also reduces the amount of coffee waste going to the landfill sites. This is a fairly new idea. BioBean says that it takes 6,000 litres of coffee oil to produce enough biodiesel to run one London bus for a year. So to make this 6,000 litres of oil, it takes 2.5 million cups of coffee. Remember I said at the start that in London 20 million cups of coffee are drunk each day. So that means, I guess, quite a few buses could eventually be made cleaner with this biodiesel. However, I started wondering about the cost in terms of money and energy of extracting this oil from the spent coffee grounds. It's all very well recycling waste products, but if the cost of recycling is high, then the benefits are somewhat negated. The articles about BioBean's biodiesel didn't mention the cost of extracting the oil, so I looked into this and found some research by a chap called Naidanovic Visak, which was published in the Journal of Environmental Chemical Engineering in 2017. And it turns out that the process of extracting the oil from the spent coffee grounds is actually quite simple. It can be done in just 10 minutes. I'm not a chemist, so I don't really understand the process. So I'll quote what this lead researcher wrote. He says that they mixed spent coffee grounds with methane and a catalyst to make biodiesel directly, and that the key was to use the right concentration of sodium hydroxide and to adjust the methane to oil ratio during production. So it seems that the process is quick and simple, thus the cost to extract the oil from the coffee is low. Therefore, I think it's safe to say that the spent coffee grounds are a good source of fuel. So in conclusion then, the waste coffee from your morning caffeine fix can be used in new and useful ways, from furniture to fuel. So keep an eye out for the buses that are running on this biodiesel if you happen to be in London. Thank you.